Good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are here in this wonderful world. It is Sunday Afternoon Rotor Talk Live, Season 2, Episode 1. Yes, I know it's June and we're doing Episode 1, but we are here. Floyd Motes is in the house. Hugh is in the house. Thank you guys for joining. We got a great lineup today. We have Mr. Marcus Crawford in. Mr. Ron Brown is in. ZinoNation is present. We're going to be talking Zino. We're going to be talking the Fimi X8. We're going to be talking the Parrot Anafi ad nauseum today. We're maybe throwing a little bit of Spark 2 conversation in this Mavic Air sale that's going on. And our very special guest will be joining us shortly. He's overseas. So I'm not gonna spoil a surprise. So you guys still need to be tuned in here. Rotor Deal, the great welcome, gentlemen. How are you today?
Very good, Bill.
Go ahead, Ron.
Very good today. I have the Anafi on set with me tonight. I'm going to can I do a promo right off the bat, Bill?
You can do a promo right off the bat, Ron.
Tomorrow night on ZinoNation, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have a very special guest. Some of you may have heard of Billy Kyle. He runs a little YouTube channel where he talks about the DJI product a lot. But tomorrow night, Billy will not be talking about DJI drones. He will be talking about the Parrot Anafi with Marcus and I. So that's don't miss TV, as they used to say. And Marcus and I, we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to both have a good update on the Hubsan Zino. We both flew it last couple days, and we've had some good updates for you. But on that note, I'm going to throw it to my partner in crime on Monday nights, Marcus Crawford.
Hey, thank you, Ron and Bill. Hey, and there's Shaun Matthews has joined us now too. So yeah, everybody knows who the mystery guest is now.
He was hooking up a satellite connection to Spain. That's why he's a little late.
That was it. Hey, so to add what I was talking about, we're going to we definitely are. Monday is going to be ZinoNation is going to be changed into Anafi Nation, and I have been doing a lot of flying the last couple of days. So as Ron alluded to, we've got some stuff to talk about with regard to the Zino, and then I got that Fimi X8 up in the air again too. So yeah, it's going to be a big show tonight. Back to you, Bill.
Well, without any further ado, our special guest, Shaun Matthews. Shaun, welcome to Sunday Afternoon Rotor Talk Live. It is finally a pleasure to be able to greet you sort of in person here.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. Thanks for inviting me into the show tonight. I'm looking forward to what's happening tonight. I've got a big interest in what Marcus has been trying to sell with the Anafi drone because yeah, I'm quite interested in that drone, and watching a couple of the videos lately, it's pretty a knockout drone, really, isn't it? And for the price as well. But yeah, I've just gulped down my curry tonight, so.
Well, we're gonna get to Shaun here in a minute. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on today. I know I was excited when Marcus said you'd be able to make the show, so that is fantastic. First things we're going to do is we're going to do a Zino update, because I know both there's been a couple of firmware updates, and I know Ron and Marcus have been doing them. So let's get to that right now. Gentlemen, whoever you two want to go first, go first.
Okay. Well, the Zino just about maybe 10 days ago got updated to, I can't say the whole number, Flight Controller 1.151. It's more numbers to that. And it also got a gimbal update and a camera update. And I think that's it. Probably had a controller update too, but I don't think it changed anything. But anyhow, we have been waiting for this update for a while, because the update 1.50 erased the return to home function. It would on a loss of connection on a distance run, it would not return to home correctly on you anymore. You had to do some hacks like turn the controller off, and so everybody was basically waiting for that to be fixed, and this did fix that. But it also added some nice updates, like the hups and drops gone for the most part. I mean, any non what downward sensor drone is going to have some kind of a barometer issue and wind, but it's going as much as it's ever going to be going, and it's much more stable. And I found the good news for me is it doesn't crab anymore, or hardly crabs anymore. And by that I mean it used to fly crooked. It was hard to fly in a straight line because the cameras point one way and the drone was kind of, I saw it do left and right depending on what firmware update we went on. But now, I mean, it flew almost as straight as you're going to get for a $250 drone. So I was really impressed, and it was a couple other things, but I'm going to throw it to Marcus, and then we'll do a little back and forth on some of the things.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I took it out yesterday. Well, I took it out, about a week ago or so after the updates, and so what I'll say about those updates, they upgraded the firmware to 1.1.51, as Ron said, and mostly what they did is corrected what they messed up in the previous firmware version, that it would not return to home upon range disconnection of signal. You literally would have to turn off the controller to get it to lose connection, and then it would come hauling tail back. But they fixed that, which is a relief. And then secondly, they upgraded the camera firmware from I think it's from 0.35 to 0.36, and that's where the Zino really shines. They've done a phenomenal job of improving that camera. It was and I think Ron coined the term initially, had a soft focus issue when it first came out, and they've continually upgraded, where it's got a pretty phenomenal little 4K camera on it now. Now, with regard to what Ron was talking about the way it would crab, so the forward vector would be like this, but the nose of the drone would be pointed away. So I even after this latest update, boy, I was watching that thing come back to me one time, and the drone was practically sideways. It was so far off, and that's really disappointing because it's really hard then to get good footage. And it was, let me add this, it was always exacerbated when it was in an automated flight mode like return to home. Now, the last time I flew it, I took it out to Lucky Peak Reservoir, and I don't know why, but it flew straight as an arrow that day. Don't ask me why. I don't know what I did different, but it was fine. And then yesterday, I took it up, and it seemed to be flying straight as well. But the interesting thing that happened yesterday is I've been bragging about the Zino, about the solid Wi-Fi connection that it has. It seems like you can go out, they advertise a kilometer, you can go out about 950 meters or so, and you can almost set your watch by it. That's when it'll lose connection, and then it'll turn around and come back to you. Not that you always need to fly that far for sure, but when I flew it yesterday, I was pretty close in, and well, actually, even before I took off, I had a loss of connection. So I rebooted the controller, I got a connection back, had it up flying. I was doing an orbit flight, and when it finished, I lost connection again. Of course, the drone went into an immediate return to home, which was good. So I don't know, that's the first time I've had a lost connection that I didn't either initiate myself or a lost connection at range set for months and months. And so I thought that was odd. Yeah. The only other caveat that I'm going to add there is that I was in a park that had a big cell tower next to it. So that could have been part of the deal. But Ron had something else with his as well.
I flew last night, and I've never had a disconnect with the Zino the whole time I've had it. Through all its issues, I've never had a disconnect. Now, I've never done an out-of-range test like Marcus has before him, but I've never saw a disconnect as far as control or FPV. Well, last night, I got it out a little bit past 500 feet, which isn't much. I fly 500 feet all the time, and I got a disconnect. And it did just what it's supposed to do. It did a GPS hold for a minute, and then it started returning home, and then I could cancel it or let it return all the way home. So it performed perfectly in that sense. So I tried to fly to the same spot again, and it happened again like twice in a row in the same spot. Now I flew the same distance in another direction. I did not have it happen. So I was thinking it was something in that area that was causing me interference. But I have flown in that same area many times before, and I never saw any interference in the area. So I don't know if this is something to do with the firmware update, or whether I don't know, somebody's put a secret Wi-Fi tower in that area. But I'm going to say this morning, I flew the paired Anafi in the same areas, and even though I never got a disconnect with the Anafi, it would tell me that I was having Wi-Fi interference, and the FPV signal would get real low resolution, like I don't know, like 240p or whatever, way below HD quality, where the Zino, I could fly it in the same area and get no interference with the FPV. So the cheaper the cheaper Zino has really better shield against Wi-Fi interference than the more expensive and more deluxe Anafi, which is kind of amazing in a way. And just to pile on real fast, Mark's about the camera. I thought they had the camera as good as they were ever going to get it. Like I thought it's unnecessary to do any more camera updates, but it does actually look a little bit better, especially the photos. They just keep improving the video every time. And I thought of all the things, they didn't need to improve the video. They had got that really good, and they needed the flight controller fixed, but they still keep making the camera better. If you fly that darn camera with the sun at your back, I mean, it does a great job. Now, it's not so good flying into the sun in the dark areas, but if you said with the sun at your back, flying away from the sun, I mean, it looks, really good, like, almost as good as your cell phone at this point, So we'll throw it back to Marcus.
More than you ever wanted to know about the Zino. So yeah, that's about it. So the only thing I'll add is that I had the same thought as Ron. Could it be connected to the new firmware? Who knows?
Well, that's, it's real interesting, because this is, I think, the kind of a drone that has sparked a lot of interest, and it's piqued a lot of people's curiosity, especially because of the price point. And, I see, you along, both of you, both Ron and Marcus, and, like the QC guy, and I know Brian Singleton from True Drone Reviews, you guys are doing a lot of great legwork, and Hubson should really thank you guys, because you're really kind of, doing what I would call a lot of the beta testing for real. You're doing it real world, and the results speak for themselves. I mean, we're seeing constant improvements with that, and I'm hoping hopefully it will only get better. And I think, with just a few tweaks, if Hubson does this here and there, that's, and even still, if they don't, it's still an excellent drone. I think it's fantastic. But again, I think with a caveat, like I know both of you have mentioned, it's great for somebody who's had experience flying drones. So,
and the price is a part of that too.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's by far the cheapest way to get into a 4K stabilized drone.
That's absolutely spot on, Ron.
It's not even close, to the next 4K stabilized drone. I wanted to ask Shaun. I know most of the drone seekers are all flying like Phantoms and Mavics, and Jackie's got a Spark. Do you ever meet anybody in Spain who's not flying a DJI drone?
Yeah, we had a Spanish guy that joined me for one day, really, and he had a Parrot Bebob.
Okay.
So it's very simple, not as bit lower down than the Amphi, obviously. But yeah, like you said, most of the guys that we do meet up, even the ones that come over from the UK, they all got DJI drones. And obviously in the Facebook group, we got guys that have got the auto Ampho, but not many, and people do moan, how come it's always DJI drones and not other mates? But unfortunately, these low budget drones are still not breaking the market yet. But it's nice to see that the Zino is, a 4K camera with stabilization, and it's doing well, and also there's been updates all the time.
That's a good, those are this is something I think that's really shaking things up. And I think, Marcus, can you give us a brief update on your Fimi X8 and how that's been going?
Yeah. So I have got some footage that I need to put together into a video, but I did get a chance to fly it yesterday. So, but the other day I took it out, and I'm out there in the field, and it decides that it wants to do an update. Well, and we know, just like often with DJI, sometimes you can go past it and not do the update. But I thought, what the heck? It's there. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I did, and my intention was to take the drone up and do a waypoint mission with it. Well, I had some issues with that, but on top of that, with the map, but on top of that, the video was just horrid. I mean, it was pure jello. You just wasn't clear. I could see it on the little FPV on my phone. So that was really, I was really disappointed in that. So I published that video, and then a lot of people suggested that, hey, just a reboot and going through and doing all the recalibrations would probably go a long ways to correcting that. So that's exactly what I did. And I took it up for a flight yesterday, and the video was fine. So I'm sure it just had to do with that update. And, you know, we all know, all of us that have DJI drones, and the Parrot does the same thing. When it does an auto update, if you look at the drone, it's rebooting once, maybe even 2 or 3 times. The drone will shut off and come back on. And I don't know if the Fimi did that or not, but clearly that's what it needed. And had I probably that day, had I simply rebooted it, for all I know, who knows, but it probably would have been fine. Now, the flight that I took it on yesterday, I had some issues with waypoints the time before that I couldn't see the map. I didn't have the map downloaded. I just simply went into options and I changed it to satellite map. Then all of a sudden there it was. And so I'd never done a waypoint mission before. I kind of like to do these videos just off the cuff so people see me figuring it out, just like, you know, you would out in the field. And so that's what I did this time. And boy, I had a great flight with it. It was really fun. I had a good time.
That's awesome. Wanted to welcome several people here in the chat before we go on. Asgard Studios, Hugh is in. Scotta's Drone View is here. Rotor Deal is here. Exploration Obsession. Art is in the house today. Brent Nunley is here. Floyd Modes and Joe's Drone Life. Want to kind of shift gears here just a little bit before we get to the Anafi. And you know, I want to spend some time talking with Shaun. Now, Shaun got introduced to me from Mr. Marcus Crawford. So, Marcus, why don't you do a little bit of background? And Shaun, after that, why don't you go ahead and tell us, you know, how you started Drone Seekers and how, you know, how you fell in love with drones and kind of go from there. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So perfect. So Shaun has I think a background in drones and in, well, I should back that up even a little bit, in aerial photography that the rest of us wish we had. He's been doing it for a long time. And so he started with the very beginning at DJI. But I got to know Shaun when I bought my first Phantom 3. And, you know, you're trying to learn how to use it, how to do this, how to do that. And he had a series of tutorial videos. I saw this guy with this little dog tagging behind him all the time. But what he would do is explain the features of that product just like an everyday person looking at it, trying to figure out, you know, this button and that button and this switch and that switch. And I learned a lot. So I started following him. And then, Shaun, I'll let you tell you the rest of your story. Okay.
Shall I start from the Drone Seekers? I don't want to go back too far. So I come to Spain in 2015, sort of Christmas time. And I've been out in Spain, I don't know, about 3 months. And I met another guy, which just down the road from me, Steve. And we started up ourselves as the Two Phantoms. I've got nothing in there with the Two Phantoms at the moment. Me and Steve, we both had two Phantom 3 standards. I still got over in the corner there. I've got the Phantom 2 Vision Plus, and I was still flying that at that period. And we were both having a great time for about a year and a half. And Steve has always been a bit adventurous of his flying. And anyway, in the end, he smashed his standard up. We then bought the Phantom 3 Advanced. So we still call ourselves the Two Phantoms. And then Steve smashed the Phantom 3 Advanced up. So he then thought, I'll move up a step. And by then, we're talking 2016 late-ish, maybe coming into 2006. He bought the Mavic Pro. So we couldn't call ourselves the 2 Falcons anymore. So I got my head thinking, and I thought of 2 names. One was the Drone Devils, but Steve said that was sounded a bit racy. So I thought, okay, we'll call ourselves the Drone Seekers. And it was still based on just me and Steve. And then during that year, I got contacted by Terry and Steve, who lives a bit further up, about an hour's drive away. And then Jackie got hold of me. So we then formed the group of the Spanish Drone Seekers. And by then, so I'm talking last year, 2018, sort of just after Easter, we started up the actual Facebook group. And it just sort of sped from there, really. So the Spanish Drone Seekers go out once a month flying, and we get guys coming over on the UK on their holidays, and they come out and join us. But I've got a question to ask, because we go out as a group, and we're all flying DJI drones mostly. And recently, one of our guys has got the Mavic 2 Zoom drone, and we've been going out on the last 2 occasions, and we've been flying the Spark. It seems that the Spark gets taken over by his controller sometimes. I don't know if the wavelength is the same as that, but also when I'm flying my Phantom, I'm just losing connection. I'm just wondering if I can't see nothing down at the side here, guys. So I don't know what the comments are going on about. So if you can help me out on that. But noticed recently with the DJI drone, especially with the Mavic Zoom, some of my drones have been losing connection, which we never had before. I don't know if that's to do with an update, or is anybody else out there have the same sort of problem?
I've never heard that. Real quick, Kevin's in the chat room. Shaun, Kevin, the T-shirt guy. What's Kevin's last name?
It's
well,
Kevin.
Does he want it publicized? Probably not.
Well, we won't say it. Okay, yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to go there. But anyhow, I've never heard of somebody's controller interfering with another drone's controller. Have you, Bill?
No, I haven't. I was just going to say what Shaun said. That just sounds totally foreign to me. I mean, I'm out on the forums. I look out there every day, and that's something I have not seen. I mean, I don't know if maybe the only thing I could think of is that there may have been some radio interference that day, some type of strong signal. Because these things, these controllers,
aren't they on channels over in Europe than we are here because the distance is different?
Yeah, the channels are different. I mean, what they have to have, that's why a lot of the controllers that we have 2 sets of channels. One is good here in the States, another one is good overseas. And because for instance, and I'll go with this example. I know of the Autel Evo. It had a hard time getting approved over in the UK and in Europe for the simple fact the channel that it was on was using a frequency that EMS and paramedics use over in Europe and the UK. So they had to come up, and have another frequency to do that. So there may have been some interference with something like that, but I've never heard of that. Yeah, that's unusual.
That you're probably true on that. Where we go out flying similar places sometimes, and sometimes we go there, we have no problems, and other times the drones are disconnecting. Look, what we always do, we just bring the drones down, we reboot them again, and usually that clears a problem. It's always a hard thing, even with all these apps that we can use to check on what's going on in space and whatever else for interference and that. It's just the luck of the draw, really. I mean, in fact, most times that we do go out flying, thankfully, there's no major problem. If we lose signal, we just bring the drone back in, we stop for a bit, and then we just fly off again. And it seems to clear the issue, but every now and again it crops up. I just wondered, is it something new, or is it maybe it's just where we are at that period, maybe?
Hey, not to change the subject here, but I'm looking at the chat. Kev says his last name is Milknarf.
Yeah.
Yeah. This definitely bears watching, Shaun. If this is some kind of ongoing problem, I'll definitely try to look into it more. Again, I haven't heard of this, but I mean, it could be a problem. Bill and I stood with 5 feet apart on the beach together, flying our Mavics in North Barrington Beach, and we had no issues even staying that close together.
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, you know, that was, and I wasn't even, I mean, I was using I hadn't had the smart controller yet. So
we still had our dumb controllers in.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, it was like, you know, there was just absolutely no problems whatsoever. So, you know, because I know, you know, with the newer controllers, you know, they're smart enough to switch signals. If it senses one is weak, it will pick up the stronger signal in the area that you're in. So that's the one thing that I do know as far as that's concerned. So, but yeah, Shaun, I got a question for you. When you go out with your group, usually how many people are out there when you go out to fly?
I suppose mostly that there's 6 of us, so there's 6 drones in the sky. I mean, last year we had no problems. We were flying really close together with Sparks and Mavics and the Phantoms. But this year, recently, we've been having a few little problems. But then some of the guys that have been coming over from the UK, they've got the Sky. Our last guy come over with a Sky Crystal device, and obviously had his Epson glasses. I don't know, maybe that would cause a problem. 2 of the other guys are wearing the DJI goggles. They quite enjoy wearing those. They can just sit down and fly the drones. But yeah, just every now and again, this thing comes up. And I suppose, because 2 years ago, me and Steve were flying, we're sat down in a chair. We don't usually sit down in a chair. We always stand up. This day, we sat down in the chair and we was flying our Phantom 3 Advances. And we both taken off at the same time, in the same location. Within 5 minutes, mine Phantom 3 Advance had lost signal. It just blanked out, and the drone just shot off. Thankfully, it crashed into a cliff, and I managed to retrieve the drone back. And I sent off the information to DJI. They come back after 2 months with nothing. They couldn't find them, but they're quite happy to take the drone back to have a look themselves. But since then, the drone's still here. I still fly it every week. That was just a one-off. That was bizarre. You know, and we back together again. We've been flying that. But yeah, most of the times now we go out, there's 6 of us. And it's a variation of drones. Yeah.
So another question for you, Shaun. You know, and you kind of alluded to it a little bit here, is, you know, here in the States for us, you know, we have access to DJI support, and, you know, we have places to be able to mail our drones to in case they need repair. How is it for you, especially over in Spain, being able, you know, if your drone really does need repair, if they've determined it's something you need to send back, you know, how does that process work for you over there compared to, like, say it would over in the UK or over here?
Yeah, I mean, here in Spain, thankfully, all I've done usually, I've had to email to DJI support personally. I've never tried to phone them. But I think if you've got a problem with the drone, there's nowhere in Spain where a DJI drone can be fixed. I think Germany's got a support unit that DJI use, but when I go onto the DJI site, it just sounds like I would have to send my drone back to China to be resolved. Thankfully, none of the guys that have been flying have had to ever send their drone back. They've all thankfully been working correctly. We've always had issues with updates. That's always been a pain.
Well, you know, one of the things, you know, and I'm real glad, you know, Marcus kind of clued me into you and your group. And, you know, the one thing that I really like to emphasize here, and I know both Ron and Marcus will agree with me wholeheartedly, you know, we like to promote just, you know, drone flying, period. And, you know, and that's what I see your channel doing, and when I see your videos and when, you know, you have your outings and so forth, you know, it's getting out there, it's enjoying this hobby that we have of being able to fly drones, you know, and I, before we get too far, I just want to thank you for doing this, Shaun, because it's something that's much needed, because there's just so much talk and you know, I don't know if I want to use the word false narratives about drones crashing into planes and all this, you know, and I want to personally, I want to thank you for what you're doing, Shaun.
Oh, thank you very much. I think before I came to Spain, I checked on the internet because I think back in 2014, it was virtually hobbyists were banned in Spain, and now Spain's turned around the other way. That there's, I think, nearly every major town in Spain has a training place now for commercial pilots, and they're using, well, drones a lot more here. I mean, when I left the UK, I think nearly all places of historic interest, be it castles or big buildings, were already putting up no drone flying, even council parks, no drone flying, no disregard to contacting actual drone flyers, because, you know, they won't do no damage, not cause no problems, they're just flying their drones. You always got to get somebody who's going to go over the top, but most of the time they just want to enjoy flying their drone, keeping out of the way of people. But yeah, unfortunately for the UK, it's a lot of the guys do get problems down there. These have to go out further out into the UK countryside to fly, so they don't get harassed, especially if they're flying around like National Trust properties and things like that. And frankly, in Spain, I've had no problems. I've gone flying down near the coast. We obviously still got to keep to the rules, and the police, I've never had no hassle from the police yet, which is good.
That is good. You know, that's good. That's good to hear, Shaun, because, you know, there's been, you know, our rules are changing constantly. You know, the FAA, people look, you know, there are rules. Rules are out there for a reason, and I know Ron and Marcus agree with me. You know, when, you know, we're having this APAS B, and being able to identify when commercial aircraft and light aircraft are in our vicinity, you know, they're promoting safe flying, which I'm all about, you know, and they're not promoting fear mongering, and I think there's a big difference there, and I think you pointed it out real well, Shaun. You know, it's nice to hear that a country like Spain is very friendly towards that, and it makes it easy for you to practice your hobby, and those, you know, those that are in your group to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to interrupt for just a second, because Kev made a comment in the comments there that he said when he met with the Spanish drone seekers, he said everybody had a different kind of interference. He said he was unable to move his gimbal up and down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was good. That's very, very interesting here.
What kind of drone does Kevin fly?
Kevin flies a Mavic Pro. Now,
Okay.
we all had problems in that same location. I was disconnecting, so we moved to a different location within, I don't know, about half an hour, and that location, none of us had problems at all. So it just proves that obviously whatever's radar or transmitter that they're putting out obviously interferes with the frequency, I suppose. But at least Kev got to fly that day.
Shaun, I know you're a DJI guy, and you know, and you know, Ron and Marcus and I are DJI guys as well. But, you know, if you were to consider another drone, what would you consider flying, and why?
I'll be honest. I think last year I was looking when the Anafi, the Parrot Anafi drone come out. I was looking at that drone. There was a couple of issues that I was a bit worried about. Where they keep the SD card. Apparently they were saying how the SD card is secure in there. It's on a flick catch or something that tends to flick off. But I suppose if you don't touch the SD card at all, you don't really need to take it out. You can just plug in your cable to do your downloads, and that sounds good. But my wife, I've got 3 drones, I suppose, that I still use. And the problem is when you got a huge amount of drone, well, not a huge amount. I mean, I've got 3 drones. I can only go out ready and fly one at a time. And my wife has said no more at the moment. But I am the Parrot Anafi. I've gone. It's a bit like the Spark. Now, I bought the Spark over a year ago. I think it's a fantastic little drone. It's so handy, and that's over the past 6 months. That seems to be making a comeback, mainly because I think the price. Yeah, the price has dropped on the Spark. It's such a little handy drone, but with that Anafi, what I'm liking at the moment is that camera where it goes up and down, whereas at the moment, unless you got an Inspire, obviously, but if you got that type of money, I mean, that's the other thing. The price also with the Anafi for a 4K, it's got quite a few little gizmos with it, but I'm liking that upwards camera. And I think when it first came out, a lot of people said, oh, it's behind technology because it hasn't got avoidance. But then, is that really important, really? You know, and for the cost, yeah. So if I had the money, I would definitely go and get the Anafi drone.
Bill, as far as I know, and you can maybe clarify this, is the Anafi drone still the only drone where the camera goes completely up?
Yes, that is the only drone that's on the market today that will do that.
Can I add to how handy that is?
You can, Marcus. Why don't you know what? Not only do that, why don't you take it away? I'm going to take a short restroom break, and then when you're done, you can pass that on to Ron. You know, your latest update regarding the Anafi, and then Ron can give his update. I will be right back, gentlemen.
Got it. So, so it really struck me, Shaun, when you were just talking about the upward-facing camera. So, in my last video that I did with the Anafi, at the end of the flight, my Canon M50 that I use to do the introductions and then closing remarks, the battery, or excuse me, the SD card filled up on it. I had neglected to delete some previous files, and it filled up. So I thought, wow, how am I going to do my closing remarks? Well, I took this little guy, I set it on a picnic table, I turned the camera up so that it was facing me, and I did my closing remarks with the drone sitting on a table. Well, there's no other drone in the world that you can do that with.
You do get the I don't know, the what's that guy's name? You know, for making use of a tool for another tool award.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And then of course the trick was my iPhone will record the audio, so then I had to synchronize the audio with the video coming out of the Spark, or out of the Anafi, but that wasn't too big of a deal. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know when you're going to use that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I flew just this morning, and you know, Shaun was talking about the Spark, and the Spark's a great drone. I mean, I won't not Spark the one thing. I mean, the Spark flies as good as this, but what this has the advantage is that in sport mode, this can still film real well. Where you put the Spark in sport mode and the gimbal's, you know, not as stable.
It's locked.
Yeah, you can't get as good as video in sport mode on a Spark as you can with this. I mean, this does have a lot more bells and whistles, like the camera up, the zoom. It has more what do you call those, intelligent modes? Like I was doing the this has an intelligent mode where, you know, the drone is almost everything's happening. This has one, and help me out, Marcus, if you can, what they call this. A reveal. It does a reveal where it flies along and kind of looks at the ground, and you can preset how far, and then it gets a certain distance. It'll raise the camera up and do a reveal shot. So say you were flying, I don't know, well, I'll say Lucy the elephant. Shaun doesn't know what Lucy the elephant is. His landmark down where I live down at the shore. But now you could fly up to Lucy, and you'd be seeing the ground, all of a sudden do a reveal shot, and then it would, like, the camera go up and show Lucy the giant elephant on the beach. And that's and that, I don't know if any of the drone has that smart feature in, does it?
Not that I know of, Ron. I totally agree with you. But I'm going to
Bill, did you hear this conversation at all?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Do you know of any other drone that has a reveal intelligence shot where it'll fly along to a certain length at the end, then the camera will come up and reveal the subject at the end?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So the Anafi definitely has some tricks up his sleeves that no other drone does.
Well, you know, and I think Marcus pointed this out when I had Gail Ornstein on. You know, she uses an Anafi out in her work, and she said she finds especially the reveal shots like that, and then also being able to fly underneath structures and over to the other side. You know, getting those kind of shots, it's invaluable, and no other drone can do that.
Well, didn't she say, Bill, that also it was stealthy because of the sound? Often where she's filming in war zones and stuff, she doesn't want to be seen, so she can keep it lower to the ground and point the camera up.
Yep, exactly. That's a great point about this.
Yeah.
So you know, and I put out a video on it, and I know you. I think all three of you probably have seen it about the resurgence of the Anafi and why, and some of the reasons. You know, obviously the Anafi thermal has sparked, you know, has really kind of rekindled a lot of this and a lot of interest in this. And when the originally when the Anafi came out, it could not have come out at a worse time because the Mavic 2 series was coming out, and everybody said, you know, everybody put, and the initial reviews on the Anafi were lukewarm at best, and probably not even lukewarm. I'm being generous when I say that. You know, they really kind of, one of the downgrading things that they said was the no obstacle avoidance, which we know as skilled flyers, you know, a skilled flyer does not really need obstacle avoidance. It's nice, but it's not a need. It's not a must. It's not something, you know, it's being situationally aware, which I know all three of us are. So, you know, there's going to be more on the Anafi, and when I get more funds in my pocket, there's probably going to be an Anafi sitting on my desk behind me shortly too. I kind of wanted to change gears here a little bit and kind of go towards DJI. Now, I know both Ron and Marcus know this. There's a DJI summer sale going on, and it starts, I think, June 7th, if I'm not mistaken. And it's $120 off the Mavic Air. It's $120 off the Mavic Air combo, and it's $100 off the Mavic 2 Zoom. Now, yesterday when I was on Canadian Drone Hub, I have a weekly appearance on there usually about 10:30 Eastern time on Saturdays. So definitely check them out. You know, Roger, Paul, Val, great people. Anyway, I have two working theories about this price reduction here. Okay. Now, the first one is regarding the Mavic Air. And here's what I think is going to happen. All right. There's going to be two versions of the new Spark 2. There's going to be a Spark 2 basic, and it's going to be exactly like what we think it is right now. It's going to be with those tweaks that were talked about on Drone DJ, the 2 minutes in more in battery life, going to the 4K with a 3-axis gimbal, you know, just some slight upgrades for that. All right. Then you're going to have a Spark 2 Pro. And what the Spark 2 Pro is going to be, it's going to take the place of the Mavic Air. The Mavic Air is going to there's going to no longer be a Mavic Air. The Spark 2 is going to take it, not only replace it, but take that price point, and it's going to be at the same price point. But you're going to see new quieter ESCs with that. You're going to see better propeller system with that. You're going to see some tweaking as far as the flight controller is concerned, and you may even see if the platform is big enough, OcuSync and something like that.
No,
this is just my conjecture in what I'm thinking as far as marketing is concerned.
If it does have OcuSync, will it work with the smart controller?
Yeah, see that if it has OcuSync 2.0, Ron, that's correct. It will work with a smart controller, which would just, you know, it expands DJI's reach infinitely. When they can put OcuSync 2.0 on a platform, you know, I'm just waiting on software with the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, you know, and I'll be good to go. You know, I talked to Frank from Carolina Drones, and he told me it will take off. You can bind it, but you don't have any camera functions on it. You can't adjust the gimbal. You can't change settings. You can't really do anything at this point. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to. Now, conversely, with the Mavic 2 Zoom, you know, that's $100 off. You know, DJI just doesn't do these things. Okay, they just don't say, you know, oh, we're going to give $120 off on this drone. We're going to do $100 off on this. there's a reason behind it. There's some marketing behind all of this. What I think is going to happen is we're going to see a next generation of the Mavic 2. You're going to see a Mavic 2 Pro / Zoom. It's going to have both capabilities in one camera. So I want to open it up to all of you gentlemen, what your thoughts are on all this.
I want to really quickly acknowledge one of the probably the world's most premier spark flyers just joined us. Jackie of Jack Graphics is in the chat room right now.
Okay.
One of the most world famous spark flyers. And I'm going to add, and I'm dead serious about this, if you haven't subscribed to her channel yet, you should, because her videos are so entertaining. They will leave you rolling on the floor laughing every time. So anyway, that's my plug for that. But I also want to plug the Spark itself. So, you know, I had seen Jackie's videos. I'd seen Shaun's videos with the Spark, etc. And you know, honestly, I liked them, but I probably never would have bought one until I was able to get one on sale. And once I did, boy, did I learn the goodness of this drone. This thing is just so easy to carry around and so easy to just casually throw up in the air and get some quick aerial video with. And so, yeah, so those are my thoughts there. Shaun, why don't you take it?
Okay. I don't think personally there's going to be a Spark 2, mainly because I think the Mavic Air was the next stage up, because obviously it had the 4K, you had that longer battery, it's got a better distance. I still think DJI is still going to bring out something this summer. Probably what you were saying then, Bill, about the Mavic 2 with the zoom and camera combining, because they're very good at, they don't want to get rid of the Mavics yet, so they'll probably bring out a couple more of those. But I still think at the end of the year, because I know last year DJI was working with this fantastic company that probably banned in the US at the moment. Right. But they were working with a guy, a surfer. He had the phone on his side. It's like an autonomous drone. So that it won't be a Mavic. It'll be something complete. You know what DJI are like? They're so advanced in their equipment. And I still think at the end of the year they're going to bring out a drone that's going to knock the spots of everybody. It's going to be totally autonomous, where you won't even need a controller somehow. I just got this feeling that's the next stage up for them. And I still think small is where they're going. They're not. The Phantom, you know, that's the size of drone, that's gone now. They can see the compact drone is the way forward, be it for commercial or us hobbyists. Yeah, that's my angle.
It sounds like Shaun just described the Lily drone. Remember the Lily drone, Bill?
Yeah, I sure do. That's exactly what it sounds like. I mean, you know, and Ron, I'm interested to hear your take on what my conjecture and theory is.
Well, I you know, I hope you're right. I would love to see that happen. You know, and you know, outside of, you know, listen to, you know, you guys. I mean, I don't have any other information. All my thoughts are just my wish list or whatever. But I mean, that does make sense. You know, and I think the Mavic Air, even though Billy Kyle just did a great video where he did like a kind of a, you know, a look back at the Mavic Air after, you know, what, a year and a half of ownership. And it was a real good video. I think he just dropped it last night or yesterday. But I don't think it was the big success that DJI hoped it would be. I mean, we never know numbers. They never show us numbers. But I just don't think it was the hit that Spark was, or, you know, any of the Mavics, Mavic 1, Mavic 2, or whatever. And so, you know, again, this is just my own personal conjecture. I think you could be right. Maybe they figured that, you know, the Mavic Air kind of filled a notch that really wasn't there. Like the people who were going to spend $800 would rather just spend a few hundred more and get the full blown Mavic.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a little beyond the people price range, you know, who wanted to Spark. So, I mean, what you're saying, Bill, kind of makes good sense to me. And having the two sparks, the spark for the beginner and the Spark Pro to kind of replace the Mavic Air, you know, does sort of make sense. You know, and again, I could be all wrong, but again, I always thought that the Mavic Air just wasn't the success that DJI expected to be.
Well, you know, Ron brings up a good point here. I'm sorry, Shaun, were you going to go ahead, or Marcus, go ahead?
Well, I just was going to plug Billy Kyle's video again, too, because I watched that where he is comparing his Mavic 2 and his backup drone, he's saying, is that Air. And he really tells a good story in that video. So if you haven't watched it, it just dropped. It's really good.
Go ahead, Shaun. You were going to say something?
No, I'm quite happy.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I wanted to add here, you know, and Ron brought up a good point. You know, we have no clue, as DJI does not release sales figures, but here's kind of, and this is just, you know, being that I minored in data analysis, I'm always looking at numbers and trying to make sense of them. And, you know, I do that in my job, and, you know, and I do it here as well. But one of the things, I have a large Mavic Air group, I have a large Spark group, and I have a large Mavic 2 group. And let me tell you this, okay? You know, the group that has led the way for the longest time was the DJI Spark group. It has right around 2,600 members. It's just shy of about 2,700 members. Now, these all started out from the ground up. There were zero in them. The Mavic Air group has about 1,400 members, okay? Now, the Mavic 2 group, and this is real interesting because this started, you know, a year ago, August, all right? It now has, it's almost at 2,700. It's passed up the Mavic, it's passed up the Spark group, and it's not well on its way to 3,000 because I'll get 10 to 15 new people join that group a day. So as far as seeing sales are concerned, you know, if that's some kind of a bellwether, you know, the Mavic 2 is just going through the roof as far as sales are concerned, all right? And the Spark is still up there as far as sales are concerned. You know, the Mavic Air, not so much. And this is why, you know, my conjecture, this is one of the things that I'm basing this on, is this kind of, you know, is this kind of analysis. And Shaun brings up a good thing as well, too. I think we are going to see a DJI drone that's going to be nothing like anything that they've ever put out. It's still going to be compact enough to be able to travel with it, but it's going to have something so unique and so groundbreaking industry-wide, you know, that we're not, you know, it's going to knock everybody's socks off. And, you know, and again, towards the end of the year, because, you know, like I said, you know, they do things in cycles, and their releases are planned to almost a T, and you know, they don't like, they like to stick to things. They like to keep things, you know, in harmony as far as that's concerned. So there's a lot's gonna happen this year. I'm looking forward to a lot of good things. You know, the sales, you know, if you're looking to, and here's my other thing, all right, because I'll get probably 5, 6, 7 emails a week. Bill, should I buy this drone? Should I buy that drone? And you know what, here's what I say. Number one, do you already own a drone and use it? And if the answer is yes, and I'm going to say, you know what? Do you need this drone? Is this a drone that's in need? Well, yes, I need it for my photography business. Get it, all right? If you don't own a drone and you're looking for one right now, don't wait. Get the best drone that's available for you, okay? You know, the old saying is the best drone that you have is the one that's in your hands, or the one that's, you know, one that's ready to go on the flight line all the time. And that's what I say in this instance. But, you know, if you have a drone, you know, like for me, you know, I have a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. I got the Mavic 2 Pro with a smart controller. You know, I don't need another drone right now. Do I want other drones? Yeah. I'd love to get a pair of Anafi. That's one of the ones that's on my list. But, you know, when they come out with this new technology that's going to happen, and you know it's going to happen, you know, it's going to be groundbreaking. It's going to be something that I think is going to set things apart. And this is a question that I want to pose to everybody, and I'd like to get everybody's opinion on this. You know, Shaun brought up a good thing as far as this, you know, groundbreaking drone that's coming out. But putting that aside for a second, do you think drone technology has reached a peak, and that the only real things that we can do right now are software updates? You know, Marcus, Ron, Shaun, I'd like to hear your opinions on that.
I'll go ahead and start. So I want to make one point real quick. As we were talking about the Spark, you can no longer buy this from DJI. You go on their website, they are sold out of everything. You can't buy it refurb, you can't buy it new. They're sold out. So that's kind of telling, number one. Number two, with regard to changes in one more point. Bill, you were saying you only had those 2 drones. Tell the truth. I saw the golden egg drone sitting behind you there. So, but
that golden egg fly.
Oh, hold up, Bill. Hold the golden egg up.
Well, anyway, let me add. My point is that with regards to technology never stands still, and Bill of all people knows that, and in his business, and so yeah, we're going to see things that we can't even imagine right now.
Ron, what's your take?
I hope Marcus is right, but I think you can be right too, Bill. I think we've kind of plateaued a little bit with drones like the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 and the Mavic 2 series, the Pro and the Zoom. I mean, the 1-inch sensor. I don't think there's going to be a 2-inch sensor anytime. So on a consumer drone, what's going to happen is on drones like the Inspire and that new Evolve drone, they're going to put micro 3/4 cameras on them, but that's going to be for professionals that are paying. Well, you may pay $2,000-3,000 for the drone, then you're paying another $1,000 or better for the camera and the lenses for these micro 3/4 camera systems. But as far as the drones that we're kind of flying, the consumer drones, I mean, a 1-inch sensor, is kind of where we're going to plateau for a while. The flight range, the flight times, every model, it's going to go up. You're going to get a few more minutes of flight time, and you're going to get, you're going to go a little bit further distance. But it's not like the Mavic 3 is going to go. It's going to, instead of flying, what's the Mavic 2 say? It flies 31 minutes, 32 minutes. It's not like the Mavic 3 is going to fly 64 minutes. It's not what's the distance now, 5 miles. It's not like the Mavic 3 is going to go 10 miles. There's never, I think we reached the point where we won't see like a giant gap of the numbers between models, like the iPhone, like the second iPhone was worlds better than the first iPhone, and the third iPhone 3 was many times better than the second one. But now the iPhone 10 is not that much better than whatever they call the iPhone Max now, or whatever. I mean, there's small incremental differences, but there's no showstoppers anymore. And I think we're pretty kind of close to that in the drone category, where I don't know if we're going to see a lot of shows. I want showstoppers. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Shaun's, drone, kind of advanced little drone, but I don't know if we're going to see any big showstoppers anytime soon. So I'll throw it to Shaun.
Okay. I think the only bug, I've been flying drones for about 6 years now, and I think when I first started flying drones, obviously the GPS was the biggest thing. And I've noticed with the latest ones, I've been flying some of our, the Mavic 2 and whatever, you got far more control on the sticks and that. But I'm starting to wonder, are we starting to lose the thrill of flying? With these newer drones, you can virtually just press a button, the drone will take off. You can do the waypoints. The drone will do it itself. There are other smaller companies that have been doing this autonomous setting where the drone will go out and think for itself and take photographs. I just wonder sometimes, is it taking the thrill away for us flying a drone? I enjoy just flying the drone, bringing it back in. Not always using all the footage. I throw probably half away the footage of the video footage. I do them with videos. But, it's like the phone really. When they first brought out a phone, it was quite basic. And every year, a new company will bring out something completely different in software, be it hyperlapse, there's 3D dimensional. That will come into drones, no doubt. Probably it's going to be a couple more years yet, but I just hope that especially with DJI, that they try and still have a basic, like with the Phantom 3s, you had the standard, which was just a basic drone, and then you had the advanced, and you had the professional. With the Mavics, it just went straight into a Mavic, or a better camera, and now it's gone into the Mavic 2 with you got your zoom and your 1-inch sensor thing. I just hope that they still keep a bit like having a Zino, a DJI Zino sort of thing. That you don't have to pay out too much for. You enjoy flying, because we all got to start somewhere. And I think some people, they go out and buy the most expensive drone in a month. They either lost it because they just haven't got the control. Because we all need experience. And I think we tend to lose that sometimes, especially with these newer drones now. Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for this, because this is something I know Billy and Ken have talked about this as far as it reaching a plateau. And I know we talked a little bit about this with Rick Smith, from Drone Valley. And, one of the things, just for an example, and to wrap this segment up, as far as lithium-ion batteries are concerned, the one comment that I was getting on my Spark 2 video was, they're only increasing the runtime 2 minutes. And I'm telling people, I'm saying, you have to understand something, okay? It's still, the process is still the same. They haven't really advanced lithium-ion battery technology to the point. In order to get more battery life, you have to have a bigger battery. I mean, that's just the simple physics and chemistry of things. That's the way it works right now in order to be able to do something like that. So this is an ongoing thing, and I think I'm glad we talked about this, because I wanted to bring this up. This is something that I was very curious to hear all your takes on regarding this. Well, we're kind of go through and do our closes today, and I'm gonna have Ron go, and then I'm gonna have Marcus, and I'm gonna have Shaun close, and then I'll say something. So, Ron, take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Bill. Just real quick, here I just took the battery off the Anafi, and I don't know if this is any size comparison, but I don't think this is a lot bigger than the Spark battery. And this gets, I get about 19 minutes in the air. This is rated like a 23, 24 minutes. And I get almost 19 in general flying. So there's more than just size to the battery. There you go. Okay. It is quite a bit bigger. I'm sorry. I didn't have the battery with me, but Bill makes a good point about, you have to have a bigger battery, and that makes the drone bigger, and they want to keep the Spark size to a certain thing. I guess you could make the Spark just more battery and less drone, but anyhow, this has been a great show. We discussed a lot of great topics. It was great having Shaun on again. We just did a show on Friday, and anybody that wants to know Shaun's history a little bit deeper than we got into today, I'll put in one of my comments, I'll put the link to the video that we recorded Friday for ZinoNation. Shaun tells his whole story about growing up on a farm in Dorset and taking care of chickens and being in the military, and he took us through the whole thing. We got real deep into the two Phantoms, and it was a pleasure hearing the kind of the whole story. You kind of got the thumbnail version here, but again, I'll put that in one of the comments. And I'm going to release the recorded version of that video. I'm going to put all the links in, like I said, where you can get the T-shirts and all the stuff we talked about in there. The Drone Seekers have great T-shirts. There's a website for them. I will post them in the link to the video. I'm going to post that link, so it'll be all linked through. So again, Marcus, is always great being on the show with you, even if it's not ZinoNation. We got a little bit of a ZinoNation vibe going here for a few minutes. And one more plug before I go. ZinoNation tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Billy Kyle. We're going to talk about the Anafi. I know Shaun will be in bed when it's going on, but try to watch the recorded version. If you haven't seen Billy very knowledgeable on drones and speaks a lot better than I do. So it's going to be a great show. And Bill, thanks for having me on Rotor Talk Live. It's always great being here and being part of your show. So on that note, I'm going to throw it over to Marcus.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off by thanking Bill. Rotor Talk Live is a show that I've been watching for a long time, and Bill, the way you present issues with the drone community in such a professional, level-headed way, I think is a great value to the community. But again, boy, it's just fun to be associated with people like Shaun. You know, I don't mean to embarrass you, Shaun, but I've looked up to you for a long time. And then Bill, of course, you the same thing. I was watching your videos early on in my drone career. So it's just a pleasure to be on with you guys. And I think we touched on some really good subjects tonight with the Anafi. And gosh, thank you, Bill, for letting Ron and I update with regard to the Zino. And lastly, I want to say how much I enjoy being associated with Ron Brown on ZinoNation. So that's about it. Shaun, off to you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank Bill first for bringing me onto his show. I most appreciate that. I try to watch as much as I can, Bill. Like you said, I think yours is on about 2:30 in the morning for me. And there's no chance that you're going to get me coming up. I don't know if Kevin's still on there, but I know Kev, because he works at night, I think he tends to watch your live show more than me. But I most appreciate it. I think these live events are far more useful than sometimes just putting a video up, because we're communicating and exchanging information, which sometimes you can't always get when you do a video. So I appreciate that. And I obviously got to give out a big shout out to the other two guys, Ron and Marcus, especially Marcus, because he's been a great supporter for the Drone Seekers, and he's always mentioning us all the time. Just as much as what you are as well, Bill. I've heard you a few times saying, please check out the Drone Seekers. And I've got to thank Ron as well. He's been another great one. It always interests me to see other drones. I mean, I am DJI. It's like my cameras. I'm a Canon man myself, but DJI is it's going to be hard if I do get this Parrot drone. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I most appreciate you guys for having me on here, and it's a great honor.
Well, Shaun, I want to thank you for showing up today. You know, I know Marcus has spoken very highly of you, and I've enjoyed my interactions with you. I enjoy your videos, and I enjoy, like I said, what you do for the drone community. You know, and the drone community is not just, you know, where you're at, but it's everywhere. It's around the world, and it has a global impact. You know, and it's been shown. But you know, I know, for instance, I can speak of my channel. You know, people in Australia watch me. People over in the UK watch me. People over in Europe watch me. Holland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland. You know, I have people in the South Pacific watch me and watch our shows. And I'm just not talking myself, but I know, you know, it's when, you know, these other live shows are on too, and we have a global impact. And I think we kind of misunderstand we kind of understate our reach. And I think we have a great impact. And I think with a great impact, that means we have a great responsibility. You know, and I got to thank, you know, Shaun, you run a great channel. You know, you put out a positive message about drones. Same for Marcus and same for Ron, you know, both with your individual channels and ZinoNation, you do the same thing. You put positive messages out about drones, and that's what we need a lot more of. We need a lot less of the negativity that's out there, and we need a more positive message like that so we can promote being able to enjoy our hobby. Of course, you know, this is what it's all about. You know, I can't thank Ron and Marcus enough for, you know, coming in and co-hosting today. You gentlemen are always welcome. You know that, the drop of a hat. And I want to apologize to everybody for not getting to Sunday Afternoon Rotor Talk Live till now, 6 months into the year. I know, but, you know, all that aside, you know, I'm definitely going to have this on at least once a month. So especially, you know, this is not only for my subscribers here in the US, but, you know, if you're overseas, if you're in the UK, in Europe, Germany, Australia, wherever, you know, outside of the United States, this is for you, because I know it's at a better kind of a time zone for you, and it's a, you know, much better for you to be able to watch this live. So I'm definitely going to be continuing this and doing this. You know, Ron, if you can make sure to pass on those links that you have for Shaun's, you know, merchandise and channel and everything, that would be great, because I'll post them once this video goes live out there. And, you know, do share this, and do check out Shaun's channel. You know, I know you've probably checked out Ron's and Marcus's channel and ZinoNation, and I'll have links in there, but do check out Shaun's channel as well. You know, there are some, like I said, they're great people. They do a great job that, you know, promote drones for good, you know, and that's one thing that I think we all need to do, is to promote drones for good. You know, again, I want to thank everybody for spending their time, your part of your Sunday afternoon or evening watching with us. Again, my co-hosts, Marcus and Ron. And again, thanks so much for Shaun for showing up. And everybody, remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Bye.